Assalamu alaikum, good evening everyone. It's the Thursday, the 17th of December. Hope you're well and keeping safe. We had the announcement today by the government that most parts of the West Midlands are going to remain in the highest tier, which is tier 3. So it's, I suppose, business as normal for us. There's no changes, nothing for us to adapt. We must continue to comply and adhere. Today we are going to be talking about the young people that have been affected by COVID. Before we do that, as always, I'd like to share with you the statistics for Birmingham. And for your information, 80% of local areas in England have increased over the last week as well. So hence why it's understandable that the government has decided to maintain the tier system to the highest level as much as possible. So even though they have given us some room to maneuver over the Christmas holidays, they have said that is the upper limit. You don't have to reach that and try to minimize as little as contact as possible. So what are the pictures like here in Birmingham and West Midlands? So Birmingham, we have seen an increase in the number of figures. So we have now, where are we? We've gone up by 12. For Sandwell, we have gone up by 13, and in Solihull, it's gone down by 20. So, the different pictures for different parts of the West Midlands. So today I thought, let me put the spotlight on to young people. They've also had a tough year for themselves, and whether it's losing some of their loved ones in terms of parents, grandparents, in terms of not having a constant flow of education comes through. We also know that they've, in terms of the employment prospects, in terms of their income, that's been also badly slashed as well. So we're going to spend the next half an hour talking to someone who works with youth empowerment by the name of Khalid Hussain, who's a mentor, who's an outreach worker. He's also got something called the CALS Community Project, KCP, who's going to help me talk about how young people have been affected, but also maligned, because I know they were also targeted by the media for being super spreaders and being the ones that are being complacent with that. So first of all, a huge and warm welcome to you, Kat. I hope you're keeping well. Before we get into the topic, just want to sort of maybe with the listeners, if you can sort of give a bit of a background about who you are and what you've been doing for the last few years.
Thank you, Ali. My name is Khalid. Those who know me, they call me Cal. And those who don't yet, want to know me by Cal. Currently, I'm working with my own a non-profit organization with marginalized youths who come from poor, deprived backgrounds, who are like gang members, like involved in criminality. So basically, we create workshops to help them come out of that sort of culture, gang culture. And our organization, it's a non-profit organization. We've got mentoring going on for the youths. We do boxing, we do outreach work, we do well-being walks, many other interventions, because we believe like catching 15, 16, at the age 14, early intervention programs for youths, it can help them get out of that gangster lifestyle. So early intervention. So this is my organization where we work with youths with non-profit. It's a non-profit organization where we work with marginalized, poor, deprived background youths. Yeah, that's me, Ali.
Thank you. Fair play to you. You're doing a tremendous amount of work. I've seen some of your workshops. I've been following you quite closely. As you know, I've got a football academy, so I have been, and I think we've also met on a radio station before, so we're familiar with each of the work as well.
Yeah.
For the last 9-10 months, Cal, it's been tough for everyone, but this next half an hour, I want to really put the spotlight on young people. I feel sorry for them. People who are, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, that sort of age where they've really seen a huge amount of turmoil, huge amount of change they've had to experience and adapt. Not only that, a huge number of their elderly uncles and aunts and grandparents have passed away, and it's been tough, a real tough period for them. And at that age, when your body is going through so much change, when you're physically going through so much change, hormones, then on top of that, you've had the whole world turn upside down. It can't be easy for young people at the moment, can it be?
Ali, you're totally right. Basically, youths in deprived areas, they've got not much going out there due to cutbacks. There's no youth services, as you're aware, everything's shutting down now. For instance, I've always been speaking to all my local MPs, councillors, public figures that basically youth violence is on the rise, and COVID has made things so hard, so worse than what it was. I describe it like it's a time bomb ready to tick off if nothing's been done. Do you know what I mean? So they need to create some. There's people like yourself, Ali, like myself, and other organisations, but it's not enough. There's so many cutbacks. We can't do much. So it's boredom, and definitely the youths, marginalized youths, they've got nothing there to do. You know what I mean? And we're trying our best, and that's all we can do. And carry on. Let's just hope that the government releases something now,
Most
which can
definitely, Cal.
happen.
If I can come in there, what I've seen really is a pent up of anger, frustration, and normally, when you're able to go out, mix with your friends, when you're playing sports, you can release some of that, pent up frustration, that sort of testosterone. But obviously, that isn't able to happen during lockdown and during COVID. And what I am seeing is a lot of young people taking it out on their siblings, taking it out on their parents and grandparents. I was speaking to an inspector for Hajj Hill, and he was saying that they've seen a third increase in domestic violence, and that's not partner to partner or married couple. That is maybe a sibling to sibling, a child versus their parent, or a child versus their grandparent as well, where they shoulder barge, they'll throw some obscenities, slam the door. All these sort of things are happening because the environment, their routine has changed.
Ali, you're definitely right. Basically, I always sympathize with the youths. Those are the youths who know work, who I work with.
Yeah,
They know I'm always there sympathizing. You got to look at the grassroots, the cause of it. You understand? Marginalization is a state where individual has been disconnected due to discrimination, which some of these youths go through. For instance, some of the
yeah,
youths I work with some of the youths I work with, they've been marginalized. For instance, I'll give you a few examples. Absence of a partner, through my studies, research has stated it can cause behavior problems. For instance, it's just one example. For instance, when you develop behavior problems, what will happen is you will, because of the absence of a father, these young individuals they'll develop behavior problems, which researchers prove that they will develop at age 11 muscular, highly likely to develop behavior problem if they have an absence of father. For instance, now when they're going to go to school, they're going to be discriminated, thinking that it's a naughty kid, but because we don't have the CP tools to kind of spot out the problems, they're going to get discriminated, marginalized even more, which leads them to disconnect from society, school. They don't want to go there. So out of boredoms, they were going to park, letting their frustration, joining into like sort of youth violence and all the stuff that's going on. Gang members are there grooming, and now we've got COVID. They can't go back because of the lockdown, and they're taking it out their parents and families and mothers and grandparents. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be more. They're going through a pandemic, and let's pray that things ease off and we can get on and get more funding out there so we can carry all the services.
No, no, I definitely would like to agree with you with regards to that. I don't hold them responsible. Ultimately, we are responsible for our actions, but with everything that's going on, all the focus has been around the elderly and the BAME community per se, and young people have been marginalized even during COVID as well, and no one's really discussed about what their needs are. What do they need? What support can we offer in order for them to be able to cope with COVID as well? I've just got a question for you from one of our listeners, Sister Yasmin. She said, what area or areas have you delivered some of these workshops? Because I think she's quite keen to maybe get involved or, send some of her children.
We work all over West Midlands. I'm based in the city centre, Five Ways, but we're growing. I'm working with a few mosques, local communities. We're going to schools. Work within the West Midlands Police, where they're gonna send us to the high crime schools. So because of COVID, we're kind of online or sort of telephone mentoring because we offer with our organisation. We're working with a shelter as well and with some school services under 16s where we do the mentoring and some of the stuff coming through in September, as you probably know. For Sister Yasmin, we cover Birmingham anywhere in Birmingham. We're happy to provide our services.
Thank you, Cal. So that's an offer for you. So Cal covers, wider part of Birmingham. So if you need him to deliver a workshop, then please let us know, and we can put yourself into touch as well. So on that notice, with regards to the disruption to education of young people, we've had a period of, 8 March, April, May, June, July, where people were working from home. And we know some of those young children from inner city areas aren't able to have a PC at home, have a laptop or an iPad for them to do the online learning. They weren't able to receive some of the support as well that is required to do some of the learning as well. And then around September, they were asked to sort of come back again. So it's been a real stop-start as well. And I really feel sorry for them because they don't know whether they're going to have an exam at the end of this academic year, whether it's going to be teacher assessment grades. Even now, we don't know what's going to happen. There's talks about, when they come back from the Christmas break, that they're going to start around the week commencing the 12th of January as well. So, like I said, change for young people in the best of times isn't good. But when, the added pressure that, this may be your year 11 GCSE or your A levels or your graduation, and the teachers are doing it online and they're not able to give you that support that you need, it's a real worry and a real stress for young people.
Ali, you're definitely right. I had a meeting where we are developing this educational video for youths, schools, and families, and it's mainly with the Asian community because I feel with the BAME we need to focus, especially Pakistani, Indian, Kashmiri, Afghani. And I had the Crime Commissioner, Deputy Crime Commissioner in last week. He visited us, and I asked him for reports, and he said they're concerned as well, and there is a rise in youth violence. And and I just cried from my side to him that I feel, as I mentioned earlier, that it was already a rise. COVID now has made things so bad that it's like time bomb ready to tick off. Something needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? And that's where people like yourself and myself, and we urge others who people in the hierarchy, in the public sector, to put a voice to these youths because there's nothing there for them. Like you mentioned, there was nothing for the youths. All adults got the furlough. It's bits and bobs for everyone, but when it came to these youngsters, there's nothing there for them. And it is a time bomb ready to take off. So we definitely something needs to be done.
No, most definitely. Thank you, Khalid. I want to touch on those 2 points really about crime and also the employment. First of all, crime, if I can. We know in the first part of lockdown, there was a decrease in crime because of course everyone was at home. But since September, things have normalized. And what I have seen is when things have sort of relatively gone back to normal around sort of October, the level of crime and the audacity whereby they're not even, the young people aren't, some of them aren't even scared to be caught on camera. They're doing it in broad daylight. I'm talking about knife crime. I'm talking about some of the shooting. I feel as though that each month that's going by, they're getting more and more brave, if that's the right word, in terms of perpetrating these vicious, life-threatening crime.
Um, it is on the rise. Youth violence is on the rise. But we got to look at what the factors, why are they going into these sort of, why are they going picking
Yeah,
guns and joining gangs? We got to look at it. We got to reflect. We got to look at what the triggers are. What's leading them to become gang members? Because for myself, I lived in the I was born and bred in Winson Green, and for instance, whenever what made me come in to give something back to the youth community was because when I was studying at my time, before I go back to 14, 15 school days, we had some bright lads in our class. You know what I mean? And then
absolutely.
going back years on, some of them, I look back at my classmates, some are either dead, some are in prison, some are in mental homes, some never got nowhere. Do you know what I mean? But what made me reflect was they were all nice people, bright lads at the age of 14,
Absolutely.
15, 16. What went wrong? What was, if we reflect on that, if society has a big influence on your upbringing, so we need to create certain interventions. For instance, we need more youth services. Uh, but they shouldn't give one particular youth service all the pot and then others will just cry out and the communities are crying out and the crime's going on. For instance, I was talking to Andrew, the Cabinet Health Minister, Paulette, in her Soho Hamlet ward. Um, I looked at research on Hookery Road. For the last 3 years, violence, crime has gone significantly high. And there were so many arrests, but there was no charges. Does that make sense to you? So it's still out there open. There's no questions on to what's going on. You need to look into it. There's a government, the police. I've spoken to Mr. Wahid last week as well, and they're saying everything that they want the government to do something as well. So you can't blame the youths out there. They're whatever black or white, whatever you're gonna teach them, they're gonna go into that sort of system. You know what I mean? Influences society has a big influence around their upbringing. We need to create some stabilities, activities, and keep them out of that sort of circle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And with regards to what you said about organizations, Cal, those that are large and have got the expertise and they're very good at, bid writing, they tend to get quite a lot of the pot out there. There's a lot of good community grassroots organizations on the ground that simply don't have the resources or the expertise, because that is a skill in itself to do a proper bid, and they tend to lose out as well. So I agree with you. I've also got Danish, Danish, who does fantastic work around Lozels and part of Birmingham. He's also listening. Danish, if you want to say anything, please, I want you to add your valuable input as well. And coming back to Sister Yasmin, who said not many people are aware of these workshops. How can we help to share this information? What I will ask is Cal to possibly give a link to his website, or just to sort of get in touch with him so he can share his work New Year. I'll probably do
Yeah.
virtually for the first half of the year anyway because of COVID as well. So
Yeah. Definitely.
but I want to sort of talk about the crime level. You mentioned about root causes, getting understanding why people get into it. I fully endorse what you're saying, Cal. But at the same time, I think we need to also send a strong message for those that are blatantly blasé going and perpetrating this crime, making sure that we set an example to those people that may be thinking of going down that route as well. That okay, we're going to support you from the grassroots, but if you are going to do this, you are going to get double-digit sentences. You can't have it both
Yeah.
ways. You can't be a victim. And what do you think, Cal?
Yeah, you're definitely right, because one of the educational video we're making this, couple of parts in that. For instance, we managed to go exclusive with some gang members and then ex-gang members, and then we had victims, and then we had people from public like the police and the local community leaders and mentors and counsellors. And we had different people giving their opinions. It's our messages as well. There's so many opportunities out there. You don't need guns and knives. You know what I mean? Get in the gym, use the them, and take your frustration out in the gym.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
as
No, no. I can tell you and Danish. I've seen Danish. I've seen Danish as well do a few kickboxing as well. I can tell you guys to look after yourselves.
yeah, so some of the youth
Yeah,
we work with, trust me, they're taking it out in the pads. Obviously, with COVID now, it's kind of restricted, you know what I mean? But mentoring and all the other stuff are still there. We're trying to get them out on the walks, you know, the social distancing. And definitely it works. We need more services, like you said. Some of the grassroots organizations suffer the most. So big organizations take the pot funding and they use a language, but they don't deliver. For instance, I work with NCS and National City Services a couple of years ago. I did a team leader mentor role there, and they're the probably biggest youth service fund receiver in the whole UK for the funding. The most of the funding goes to the National City
wow.
Services. For instance, what I learned was on the 4 weeks we had the camping and we had the community rock climbing, and at the end of 2 weeks was 2 weeks away from home, and then 2 weeks was on site and with a project in the community. After 4 weeks, what can they do? You know, what I mean, in less than 4 weeks, it's not consistent. We need something consistent. That's why we need the incentive. We
Absolutely.
need more organizations like on the mainstream outreach work within schools. Early intervention is the best time because reflecting back to the way I was on my day,
Absolutely.
it was 14, 15, 16. They're the age you need to work with. You know, early intervention, catch them that age, you can transform their minds. But if it doesn't and they're in that kind of gang culture, it's a bit tough, then he ends up really bad.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just going to go on to, before I go on to the second point that we made around the employment side, I've got a comment here by Javed Akhtar. Well done to Brother Khalid to taking time out from his busy schedule to talk about these issues affecting our youth. Every blessings and rewards to you. We salute you. So people are recognizing the work that you are doing. So the point that you made around employment, we know that people were furloughed, jobs were lost. People were going on universal credit, and we know normally it is the young people that are the normally ones that are the last ones that are getting the more menial jobs. And during these cutbacks, they're the first ones that tend to lose their employment and the job prospects. And you talked about one of the main reasons that people go into drug dealing and into crime is to make money, but in an illegitimate way. If they're not got any legitimate source of making money through, hard work and meaningful employment, and what other option are we giving them? But forcing them into a corner where they will take the avenue and the option of the crime and drug dealing.
Yeah, some of the youths is boredom. Also, there's many factors why people join gangs. For instance, you've got peer pressure if you're born in like into that sort of gang culture from your family member, maybe a gang member. So like you've got the peer pressure influences into that. That's one example. For instance, another one is discrimination. For instance, uh, appearance, belief, and that's led them to disconnect, which led gang members out there to groom him and take them in. But these
Yeah,
guys, there's so many reasons why they join gangs, but some of them is power, some want fame, some they call it survival, some call it survival. Do you know what I mean? They're saying
yeah.
it's someone's got to pay their bills, especially with this pandemic going on now. Do you know what I mean? It's opening windows to gang members to groom youngsters into that sort of culture. So definitely needs to be highlighted, and this is the right time to kind of get these shows up. We're starting with our video, and we're doing a lot as well now. We've created a few different interventions which we will have on our new website. It's just getting developed. So definitely, we need more. We need more, definitely.
Yeah, no, no, most definitely. And also, I know there's a lot of work has been done into getting young people into apprenticeships, and that is something that I'm certainly a big fan of, because not everyone is academically minded and gifted, and that's a real option of, getting yourself into a professional career as well. And that's something that I work with, the Pathway Group and many others in order to get young people in there. The other thing that I'm going to sort of touch on is around sports. You mentioned around some of the interventions. As you know, I run a football club, but that is one real fantastic way of building rapport and getting that trust with young people, because you're dressed in a certain way, and I'm dressed in a certain way, but if I was to approach a young person on a
Yeah,
street, they'd just look at me, probably swear at me, and tell me to want to do one. But
yeah,
when I put a sporting activity on for them, after 2 or 3 times, when I get to know them, they get to know me, then they'll know that, hey, Ali's okay actually, and they won't sort of judge me by the way I'm dressed, thinking that he's an uncle, or what did he know about my life? And you're from Winston Green, I'm from Alum Rock. But sport, I mean, I certainly find sport a fantastic way of know the young people, getting
yeah.
that rapport and that element of trust, and then getting that hook, and then working your magic and getting them off, hanging around streets.
Definitely, sports is a good way. There's so many things. Mentoring, for instance, one-to-one mentoring, group mentoring, uh, workshops, boxing, football. Physical activity is really good. It's a good way to engage and open up and stuff like that. You're right, Ali. I totally agree with you on that one. Definitely. Some of the youngsters,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
instance,
and
yeah.
go on.
Sorry, yeah, go on, Ali.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's not been easy, because I know for the last 7, 8 months, I haven't been able to deliver on my sessions. A lot of the gyms have been closed, a lot of the sporting centres have been closed. What are young people supposed to be doing? Not everyone wants to go to the park if they're able to. And even then, most people are walking as well. So these young people need a high octane, high energy sport for them to sort of keep occupied and keep their energy levels at a bay as well. So it's not been great at all, has it? And also we know that that's good for relieving stress and the mental health of people going outside and taking part in sports as well.
Yeah, definitely. Physical activity is a good way. Getting them out there, burn some energy. They engage. They open up to you. It's a really good. It's a really good way of getting in with the youth. But for instance, if it's gang members, it's not like a couple of sessions or a couple of football matches to get them
Absolutely.
out. It's a long, because it's a long process to kind of get them to change their mind and their mentality. And it's a lot of like
Yeah, yeah.
one-to-one mentoring, different interventions. I've tried a lot of different stuff. And it's been proven through research. You've got some faith or good friends and stuff like that. Good company can kind of steer you out of that sort of trouble. So society has big influences, and unfortunately, there's not much in deprived areas. It's highly been proven in research that you're highly likely to become a gang member living in a deprived area. Do you know what I mean? So, in the middle and the upper class, there's less likely chances of youth becoming gang members because they've got a lot going on in there. There's a lot of youth services, there's a lot of stuff for them to do, burn the energy out. Fortunately, our gyms are all shut now as well. And for instance, I know that, I don't know whether you remember the 2011 riots when the three guys were run over, two of them
Absolutely. Tariq
were
Jahan.
yeah, Tariq Jahan's son, and then you had the two sons of Mr. Ali. The two brothers were from the same street. We lived just literally road away from each other. We used to go mustard together. So I knew them personally. And since the 2011 riots happened, there was so much going on. The mainstream media was in Winston Green. I was thinking so many different organizations kind of put their hands and saying, yeah, we're going to do something. Like you mentioned earlier, funding must have been done to so many different organizations in the area. I haven't seen nothing done in that area. There's no youth service there. There's nothing for youngsters there. If you come to one of the days with me, I'll walk you around and drive you around a couple of miles around surrounding that area. There's nothing for the youngsters there. So at a board level, Yeah, that leads them to joining and getting groomed by gangs.
I remember a story, about 4 years ago. I had one of the parents come to me and I said, I'm really concerned about my son. He's coming home around 12, 1 o'clock. And, he doesn't answer any of our questions. We don't know where he is. He's up to no good. And there's a funny smell on him and that sort of stuff. And they said that we think he's dealing. And we're scared that the police may sort of knock on, one of our doors. And I said, look, when he's here, he's on his best behavior. He would be one of the last people that I would think that he's, taking or dealing in drugs. You sure? They said, yeah, yeah. So again, over a period of weeks, I was trying to, coax that, out of him. And you're right. And, after about 3-4 months, he did sort of, tell me that he wasn't working and he was just, I mean, the way he said he was, I'm helping a friend out, just to sort of, he's going through I'm helping him. But I'm not, I don't take drugs or whatever. But it took me about 12 to 18 months for him to wean him off drugs and get him to see him the error of the ways. I had to also, show him that there's an easier way, a better way. He went down the apprenticeship route in the end. But again, what you said, it took me about 18 months from when the parent came to me and when we got him into an apprenticeship. It is a long draw, and that was just for one person. It's a really long drawn out process.
Ali, I'd like to touch with you. Gang violence is like cancer. For instance, cancer, once it's spread to the body, it can only be stable with medication. You can't cure it. Same way, gang culture has embedded into society now. It's gone beyond control. So it's a known part of life now. No matter how much we're going to deny it, it's part of the society now. So, for
Yeah.
instance, some of these youngsters, definitely boredom and once they get into that sort of lifestyle, getting on that ain't easy. So like you mentioned, you've been 18 months. I really applaud them. I admire what you did there. And I totally understand because I work with some of the youths and I know it takes ages. I've had a couple of mothers coming in, and one of the mothers a couple of months ago, um, she brought her son in. See, certain youths open up because of COVID now. We're finding it hard to get interaction with some of the
Absolutely.
young people because when it goes beyond control, if there's no, like, for instance, we can't go out there with boxing or get him in the gym or anything, so it's kind of hard to tune in. So one of the lads called his mum into our centre and our office, and we've got a little room where we do the mentoring. I try to work on him, and then half an hour later, he said, "You know what? I can't do this." So then his mom left me 2 pages in writing. She said, "I can't speak in front of him." So she wrote something from home. And if you read that, it was shocking. For instance, she's claiming, I can't mention names obviously because of the privacy,
Please.
and she told me not to mention. She says fine to share it, but don't mention a name. For instance, she said her son comes home, broken nose, ripped clothes, money in his pocket, sometimes windows getting broken. She's a single mother as well, do you know what I mean? And it's gone beyond control. Some of them who we can tap into, for instance, like if we've got the boxing or further different other stuff we can do. Due to all the lack of resources and because of COVID restrictions, we are able to do certain things. So this particular case, he didn't want to engage. Does that make sense to you? So they don't want to engage someone when it's gone beyond control. So it's very hard to get them at a later stage. That's
Most
where we
definitely.
come back in. Early intervention works. So
You know,
early we can at 14, 13 sort of age. Do you know what I mean? We can wire around over the years. So you're definitely right. I agree
Cal,
with
we're
you.
coming to the yeah, most definitely. I'm going to invite you to one of our workshops for our young people, Cal. But we're coming to the end of the show, really. But as always, I like to end up on a positive. Even though there's been a huge amount of changes that the young people have had to bear, but I like to also share some good stories as well because I know a lot of young
Yeah.
people have volunteered at food banks and done some shopping for their neighbours, for their grandparents as well. They've done huge amounts of volunteering and helped out various third sector organizations as well. So despite all that, I mean, I don't know if you are aware, but I used to be a school teacher back in the day, and I agree with you.
Okay.
99.9% of young people are real gems, are real stars, I know when they get together, sometimes they like to play up and stuff, just to impress their friends. But when you get them one to one, and I still, deal with young people through my academy. Like I said, that's the reason why I do it, is because each young person, I believe, is a genuinely good person. They may make wrong choices, every so often, but that's where I think as a society, as people who've been there, who people have given me a lot, and hence why I'm now reinvesting into the next generation. I think we owe something to them as well. So all in all, I think that they've done well, and they don't really get the good media coverage that they ought to deserve. And I think we need to shower them with love and kindness, and
Definitely,
treat them with respect, and adults sometimes.
definitely, you're right. Definitely, you know, if you're gonna use positive words with children, they're gonna have a positive effect. So, certain a message to the parents out there: always use positive words. Try to not be harsh with them, and give them time, give them support. And definitely, a message to the youth is: you don't need guns, you don't need knives. Get in the gym and use these. Do you know what I mean? But that's the only.
No, no, fantastic. Thank you. No, no problem at all. I will ask. I mean, if you've got a website or a phone number, if you're comfortable in giving, please give out your
Yeah,
details. I know there's a lot of people that are listening and they're keen to maybe have that one-to-one intervention with their young child, or maybe do
yeah.
a classroom-based activity, whatever it may be. Please, if you can.
Uh, they can log in on www.calscommunityprojects.com. We're getting a new website for now. They can reach to us on that. There's a button at the bottom where you can send us a message and we'll get back to you. And my email is calscommunity at outlook.com. So if anyone wants to get in
Fantastic.
touch, by all means, do get in touch. I'm always here to help.
Yeah. Final comment by Jav. He's saying you are both excellent role models to our youth. People respect you and look up to you. Send a link of your organization. I think you've given your email. Please just give it once more for the people that are listening, and then
Uh,
we'll call it a wrap there.
it's calscommunity at outlook.com, and it's all in lowercase. And
Cal's
website is
community at.
outlook.com.
Go on, carry on. Okay,
Cal's
fantastic.
community
Say
at
that website
outlook.
again. Fantastic.
www.calscommunityprojects.com.
Fantastic. Thank you. I hope you got that, everyone. If not, I will also type it and put it onto the link as well. So thank you, Cal. I'll be in touch with you. I will know that we'll
Definitely.
be working much more
Thanks
closely.
for having me on your show. Keep up your great work. Take it easy, man.
And you, sir, and you. So that was Cal, who is a mentor and an outreach worker, and he's involved with the Cal's Community Project, KCP, and he's doing some amazing work with young people. And all I will say is, I know it's been a tough year. Most of the focus has been around the elderly population, about needing to support them and shield them. But at the same time, the young people have been ignored and they have been maligned as though they've been the ones that are super spreading, and they're the ones that are not, keeping their social distance as well. Their education has been hindered. They've also had lost their jobs. They're not getting the income. Their normal routine has been disrupted. They're not able to exercise. With all these changes at that age, which is difficult enough, I think they've done a sterling job. So for me, to all the young people that are watching, that are listening, for you as parents that are looking after young children, you got children, just give them a hug. Let them know that it's been tough, and it's that time of the year now where festive where we have a chance to reflect and spend that quality time with our family, friends, and our loved ones as well. So please, just give them an extra long hug, because it has been tough for them. Until next week, please look after yourselves and each other. I know we've got Christmas coming up. The government has given us 3 households that we can mix. That is the upper limit. You don't have to. If you can, celebrate Christmas on your own, spend quality just with your own family. That's what my own personal recommendation is. Until next week, I've got one more show for 2020 before the celebrations come in, and I have a well-deserved rest. Please look after yourselves and each other. God bless.